what I really want, I see, is to taste the true nature of my being. And as you said right before, we are always that, but it can be, our seeing of it can be veiled. So it can be veiled on a mental level, is that true? But also on a more feeling level. Can it be veiled in any other
Yes.
way?
It can be veiled by sensing, by perceiving, by acting, relating. It can be veiled by any type of objective experience.
Okay.
When we say, I am agitated, then our being is veiled by our agitated thoughts. When we say, I am lonely, our being is veiled by our feelings. When we say, I am busy, our being is veiled by our activities. So yes. When we are lost in the experience of the world, then our being is veiled by perception.
And so when it's veiled and I want to approach going to taste my being, it seems like the starting point of that approaching tasting being can be, the starting point can be different starting points. And
the starting point is always your current experience.
Yes.
And if someone were to ask you to describe your current experience, you would describe it, I am having a conversation with Rupert. I'm sitting on a chair. I'm traveling home. I'm writing a piece of music. I'm having breakfast. I'm lonely. I'm excited. However you describe your current experience, it's always I am plus a thought, feeling, sensation, perception, activity, or relationship. But the I am is always there, shining. And this is contained in common parlance. You don't say, there is a conversation with Rupert. You say, I am having a conversation. You don't say, there is sadness. You say, I am sad. So even this understanding is enshrined in common parlance. Now, what does it mean for our being to be veiled? It means for us to lose ourselves in the content of experience and as a result overlook our being. So when we say, I am talking to Rupert, we give our exclusive attention to the conversation. We overlook the I am. When we are feeling lonely, we give our exclusive attention to the feeling of loneliness. We overlook the I am, and so on. It's not quite true to say that the experience obscures our being. That's like saying the landscape in a movie obscures the screen. But it's only if we're so enthralled by the movie that we feel that the landscape is a real landscape, that the screen seems to be missing. And in that sense, we can say the landscape veils the screen. The landscape doesn't veil the screen because all there is to the landscape is the screen. The landscape is shining with the screen. So it's not quite true to say that experience veils being, but you understand that the context of that statement. So what is the remedy? It's to emphasize the I am. Just to emphasize the I, like now, we are all having the experience, I am listening, I am seeing, I am excited to go home, I am sad to be leaving, I am... whatever we're all thinking and feeling, we're all, if we were to describe our experience now, it would always be I am plus something, all that's necessary. Emphasize the I am, magnify the I am. And we can do that formally, as we do here. We close our eyes, we turn off our phones, we turn our attention away from the world, we minimize the content of our objective experience in order to enable us to focus exclusively on ourself, on being. That's it's called meditation or prayer. But we can also do it informally throughout the rest of the day, in the midst of our activities, relationships, perceptions. Just magnifying the I am, emphasizing the I am. In religious language, that's what it means to pray without ceasing. To keep the I am, the pure I am, pure being, God's being, shining. We don't have to keep it shining. It is shining brightly, both inside us and outside of us. And we just keep in touch with that, remain as that. And then we fluctuate between closing our eyes, turning our attention away from the content of experience and going inside to the pure I am. Turner's moon inside us, the feeling of being which is not really inside us. Or outside, in the midst of our activities and relationships, just emphasizing the I am, magnifying the I am. And until you feel that you are that being. And that being is not just localized to this little corner of your experience, but it's spread out over the face of the earth.
So, when experience seems to be veiled on a...
Now you're not veiled, you're clearer.
Yes. On a feeling level, it seems that I've heard you say, for example, when I turn towards the feelings, I should first feel myself as the emptiness of awareness. But I'm wondering, can I turn towards the feelings even before that?
Yes, you can turn. When you're watching a movie, you can do two things in order to see the screen. You can either turn the movie off to see the screen. That's the Vedantic approach. You turn away from the content of experience. Or you can see through the movie, through the landscape. It's the Tantric approach. And see the screen. You can do either. In fact, I recommend doing both. Taking the Vedantic approach in your formal periods of meditation, turning your attention away from the content of experience, abiding as the pure I am, but then opening your eyes again, going back out into the world, but remaining in touch with the I am of yourself, but also remaining in touch with the isness of things. And then realizing that the amness of yourself and the isness of your things is the same undifferentiated, undivided being.
In your book, You Are the Happiness You Seek, you go through how to deal with difficult emotions, and in the beginning of the Tantric approach, you say to first feel yourself as the openness of awareness. But I'm wondering, isn't that already the end of the Vedantic approach? And do you see?
Yes. You recognize yourself as the open, empty, loving, space-like presence of awareness. But then you turn towards the emotion as that. You feel yourself as that in the face of the emotion. So you feel that you are the space, and then the emotion, that the knot, the tension arises in that space. And then instead of doing what you would normally do, which is to turn away from the discomfort of the emotion and distract yourself with some other objective experience that is more pleasant. Food, alcohol, entertainment, and so on. Instead of doing that, you face it. You don't turn away from it. You face it. You remain. You don't get involved with it, but you turn. Remember, you're the space. You're the open, empty, loving space of awareness. You turn towards the emotion, and not only do you not turn away from it, not only do you turn towards it, but you actually do more than that. You bring it close. What do I mean by bringing it close? You've heard me say you bring it close. You take it into yourself. You devour your emotions. What I mean is you face the emotion, and until your resistance to it subsides. The emotion itself doesn't compel you to resist it. It is you who are choosing to resist it. You don't need to do that. You could have the opposite approach. You could say, no, I've been running away from this emotion all my life, replacing it, avoiding it through substances, activities, and so on. No, I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to befriend it. I'm going to say yes to it. And that's what I mean by bringing it close. You allow the layers of resistance to it to drop away. Now, what happens to an emotion, your sorrow, for instance, your sadness, your loneliness, when there is absolutely no resistance to it? Can you imagine the feeling, say, of loneliness, which we normally, it's an unpleasant emotion, so we try to escape from it. But imagine you were to face it, and you were to go on facing it, welcoming it, embracing it, allowing it, until there was no resistance in you to it. What would the actual experience be if there's no longer any resistance to it?
Happiness.
Right?
Happiness.
Yeah. Because suffering is just resistance. Have you noticed that whenever you don't resist your experience, you are happy? It's got nothing to do with the experience. It's got everything to do with whether you resist it or whether you accept it. If you accept it, you're happy. If you resist it, you suffer. Why don't we just choose to accept it? Why don't we just choose to say yes to experience? Experience doesn't, and I'm not talking now about experience that involves physical pain or danger to the body. Our resistance to physical pain and danger is an intelligent mechanism in the body. I'm not talking about those kinds of experiences. I'm talking about emotional resistance. Someone is saying something unkind or untrue about you, for instance. That situation doesn't compel you to suffer. We suffer because we resistance. We say no, I don't want this. This shouldn't be happening. They're wrong. They may be wrong, but we still don't have to say no to it. It is we who resist it. And it is we who create our suffering by saying no to the situation. The situation is not creating our suffering. We do our suffering to ourselves, always. I'm not talking about physical pain or danger. So, having seen this, why wouldn't we just choose to say yes to our experience?
Yes. So I've been experimenting with this throughout the retreat, in different ways, and both the Tantric and the Vedantic approach, and I see how, depending on what I believe that I am in the moment, it really seems to change
Absolutely.
how this thing is going.
Yes.
So, for example, if I take an example that's been going on, it would be, I feel a lot of resistance. And so actually what I would like to is to have clarity between these two paths and their starting points. Because, for example, if I feel resistance towards my experience, that tells me that I believe myself to be something that can resist. So that seems to be the Vedantic approach. No, sorry. Yes, the Vedantic approach.
Yes.
But if I, from that point of view, would feel myself as the openness, then I wouldn't be suffering already.
Yes. So that's the Tantric approach. Tantric approach is you look towards your experience and you say yes to it.
Yes. So
Vedantic approach is you look away from your experience and you access the inherent peace of your true nature.
yes, and so yesterday you were talking about King Lear and John Smith. So can King Lear turn towards the emotions, or does it have to be knowing I am John Smith? Because it seems to me that when I do believe I am separate,
yes,
it just creates more tension.
Yeah, exactly. King Lear is very upset about his relationship with Cordelia. He resists it. John Smith is completely open to the drama that is taking place between King Lear and Cordelia. He's not resisting it, and therefore John Smith is always happy. King Lear is always suffering because he's always resisting his experience. John Smith is having a great time on stage. He's always happy because he knows he's not implicated by the relationship. He knows that his nature is free of this drama. He's involved in the drama, but he's free of it. He's not touched by it. He touches it. He plays it. He's totally in it, but he's not really in it. And therefore he's always happy. He's loving the play. King Lear is always miserable because he's identified as King Lear, and he resists. He does not like the way his daughters are behaving.
So before the turning towards the emotions, I have to see that I'm John Smith.
Yes. Yes.
Because otherwise it will just be part of the drama.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
So then is actually the starting point of the Tantric approach, the Vedantic.
Yeah. Knowing yourself as the presence of awareness, yes. In both cases, know yourself as the presence of awareness, yes.
Okay,
In the Vedantic approach, you awareness give your attention to yourself, awareness or being. In the Tantric approach, you awareness turn towards the content of experience and face it, allow it, embrace it, devour it. But in both cases, you stand as the presence of awareness, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.